Haya. Welcome to my life. If you are on YouTube, make sure that you take a moment to subscribe and like if this blesses you. And today I wanted to talk to you guys about why you're worth so much more than chasing a man. So I often get a lot of questions in my inbox, and a lot of people will come to me and they will ask me questions about, Dwana, I'm going through this situation. There's this guy, I really like him. I'm not sure if he really likes me. And for some reason, he's not returning the attention. He's not returning the affection. And so I want to encourage you guys. Hey, you guys, thank you guys for coming on. Hey, sisters, I love you guys so much. And I really want to just encourage you guys about why you shouldn't chase men and how worthy you are of having a man who really loves and adores you and who will really pursue you. You are so worthy of that. So we're going to go over a few reasons tonight. We're going to see how far we get. Thank you, Angelia. We're going to see how far we get. But I really want to encourage you guys because you are so worthy of love. If our Father in heaven loves us, why should you not receive the same love, or a great love from a man, right? And so, you guys, my favorite scripture is Proverbs 18:22, which is he who finds a wife finds a good thing. Now, before we start really diving into this, you guys, I just want to make sure we know we do not, I'm not about playing games with men or making it super difficult for them to pursue you or anything like that. But what I am about is knowing your worth, standing in that, and not feeling like you have to come off of your pedestal as a woman to go and chase him. So we're going to talk about that. And if you've been keeping up with my blogs, I've been writing a lot about this. So I'm happy to be able to actually share it with you guys now. So for the first reason, guys, that we do not chase men, or that you need to know that you're worth so much more than chasing men, is that when you chase a man, it's so damaging to your self-esteem. I can think of a time where I was really into this guy, you guys. He was my total physical type. And instead of him pursuing me and going after me, I started to doubt, okay, he's not texting that much. He's not calling that much. What's wrong? And so I began to send him all these little cute text messages. Ladies, have you ever done this? I've sent him all these, I would sometimes even call him, even though I felt really uncomfortable with it. And I would try all of these things to just let him know that I was interested. And I began to doubt my worth, and I began to doubt, who God had created me to be. Long story short, that relationship didn't end up working. Long story short, he just wasn't that into me. Long story short, it didn't go that well. It goes so much better, you guys, when we are allowing for the men to pursue us. We don't end up feeling down about ourselves. We don't end up feeling like we're unworthy. We don't end up feeling like, what's wrong with me that he doesn't pursue me, when we allow the man to pursue us. So what does that look like? What does that look like? It looks like not slipping him your number. It looks like not trying to text him and see where he's gone because he hasn't called you for a few days. It looks like allowing for him to reach out and ask you on a date. That is the way that it looks. And if you look at those marriages, guys, and I really want to talk to the women who desire marriages where the man really is deeply in love with that woman. He always says, if you look at it, he'll always say how much she was a challenge, how much he desired her because she wasn't just so available, how much he really saw her as a prize. And that is what I want for you to present yourself as when you're going out, when you're at church, when you are, out with your friends, when you are at work, presenting yourself as a prize, presenting yourself as the Bible says, he who finds wife finds a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord. You are the favor of a man. So it's such a big thing for a man to be able to pursue you and for him to be able to wife you. So when you start to pursue a man, it's a blow to your self-esteem. Also, here's the funny thing about pursuing a man. And if you like this, guys, please give me hearts. 1 second, guys. I need to turn on my fan. For some reason, it's not working. It's so hot. But anyway. anyways, if you like this, give me hearts. So hot. But the funny thing about when you're pursuing him, this is what I also learned. You start to pursue him, you start to go after him, you start to text and call him, you're starting to ask him on little cute dates or whatever. What I've also learned is that when you start to do that, then he could be pursuing somebody else. And that's the crazy thing about it. And that's why it's so important that we as women just trust, and I've written about this in my blog post, that we trust and allow for God to orchestrate this process. Because when we're chasing him, he's chasing somebody else. And the last thing that I want for any of my sisters, because I've been through this myself, is for us to get our hearts broken and us to get our hearts damaged because we were like, well, I really, really wanted him and I really, really wanted to show him, that I was into him, and he's pursuing someone else, and 6 months later he ends up in a relationship with someone else. Have you ever experienced that before? I know that I have. In fact, he ended up in a relationship about a month later with somebody else. So it's important, you guys, that we realize that we do not chase. The second reason is that if you are chasing, then he's just not that into you. And I think that that's hard for us as women. Like, you are gorgeous, you're beautiful, you're successful, or you just love God so much. And it's hard to believe that, he wouldn't want all this. Like, what's wrong with him? Like, why wouldn't he want all this, right? However, that takes nothing away from you because he decided you guys weren't a good fit. And this is something that I had to get into my mind, you all. Just because it didn't work out with that one particular guy, it may just mean that it's not a good fit or that God was blocking it for whatever his reasons were. So we as women have to understand that, and we as women have to say, you know what? If he's just not that into me for whatever his reason is, Lord, I trust you and I just believe you, and I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to stress about it. One of the things my mom told me is worry makes you look old. So don't worry and don't stress about it. And trust that at the right time that God will bring the right person into your life, or he will cause, and this is what I wrote about in my blog post, if you guys are subscribed to it, he will cause for that man to come around in his own timing. But see, this is where a lot of us get really restless at, is that we start to think that we can make things speed up, right? Like, we start to think we can make things speed up and go a little faster if I send him a text message. Maybe he'll be a little interested if I send him a meme. Maybe if I go up to him at work and wear a really cute outfit and say, hey, and, maybe, he'll finally ask me out for a date. None of that stuff, you guys, is what's going to work in the long term. Those are short-term strategies. Hey, I'm so happy you guys are here. Those are short-term strategies that do not work. I want us to ultimately get into a place where we're really trusting the Lord with all of our hearts to orchestrate this process. Now, of course, there's some extra work that does need to be done, like the Future Wives Retreat, which I talk about, that we need to know the emotional triggers and things that we're doing. However, when it comes to the pursuit process, the man is supposed to pursue, the man is supposed to lead. All right. The third reason that you need to know your worth, and you do not need to allow for, you do not need to be in the position where you are chasing the man. And thank you guys for the hearts and the likes. Is that you need to realize that if he is not being upfront, if he's not really being transparent with you, he may have a character issue. And this is something that some of us overlook. Not all the time, you guys, but sometimes a man who, he's sending hi text or hey big head text or what's up text, and you're like, but I haven't heard from you in X amount of weeks. Like, what happened? When a man is doing that, he may have a character issue, meaning that he is talking to not just you, but like I said before, multiple women, sending the same text message out to multiple women. And he has every right to do that, but is that really a man that you want to end up with, right? So he's shady, quite frankly, and you deserve so much better. So pay attention to that too. So if you're pursuing him, at first he was so coming on so hard and all of this other stuff, and then suddenly he just drops off, He could be entertaining multiple options. All right. Number 4, the fourth reason, you guys, why you should know your worth and know how worthy you are of love and know how worthy you are of being pursued is that because for every minute that you're spending agonizing over him, wondering about him, worrying about him, hoping that he'll text you, you are losing a precious moment of your life. Like, God has so much more in store for you. You know, yes, I believe in the desire to be married. Yes, God can make your desire happen. Yes, you need to do the work to make it happen. Yes, you need to be open to God's plan for your life for marriage. But at the same time, it's not his will that we obsess. And I've been there before. We obsess over a man and obsess over when is he going to text me? When is he going to call me? My whole day is ruined because he didn't send me a good morning text, right? So we need to not miss those important moments of life. Like, this COVID situation has put in perspective for so many of us how beautiful life is, how important life is, how important time is with people that we love, people that we care about, right? If you agree with that, give me a heart. So it's so important that we spend time with those that love us and spend time pursuing purpose and spend time, pursuing destiny. Yes, be open to love, but if one person is not texting you, you've got to be okay with that. If he's not texting you for whatever reason, he's missing out on how wonderful you are, right? Kay says, when women chase men, it's an insecurity issue. It's a sign of a lack of self-worth. This can derive from youthful, unhealed issues. Exactly. You guys, and honestly, it's so frustrating. And this is why I say don't even worry about why he's not really pursuing you. Some men cannot be pursuing you because he thinks that you're too beautiful for him, too good for him, too whatever for him. And then when we start to chase him, like Kay said, it's a sign that we don't think that we're worthy enough, so that we think that if I do a little bit more, if I do this, like I've been writing in my blog posts, if I do these text messages, if I do have sex with him, if I do whatever with him, then he will like me. But the truth is that there's so many other women that are willing to do the same thing. And so as a daughter of a king, we are to set ourselves apart and we are to say, God, I trust you. If this is the man for me, he will pursue me. If this is not the man for me, then he will move on about his business, as I like to say. But Lord, I'm going to trust you with this process and not be so tied up in the outcome. I think that a lot of us, we're just so tied up in the outcome. We're just like, oh, it has to be him. It has to be Johnny because Johnny has the house. Johnny has the car. Johnny could have a really big anger issue that God is shielding you from. Or Johnny could have a really big problem with abuse that God is protecting you from. Or Johnny could have a gambling issue. And so a lot of times we don't understand why a man drops off. But sometimes it can also be that God is allowing for you to be protected. God is allowing for your heart to be protected. Okay? And I'll try to answer questions at the end. The fifth reason that you should understand your worth, you guys, is that because staying focused on this one particular man that's not calling you, he's not texting you, it will cause for you emotionally and mentally to be drained. It will cause for you to be emotionally, mentally drained to the point where you start to overanalyze and to the point where you start to become paranoid. So mentally you're overanalyzed, emotionally you're paranoid because you're starting to think because this one man, stop pursuing me, I must be ugly. Something must be wrong. I'm too fat. I've seen girls like, I'm too light, I'm too dark, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny. We have all these things that we suddenly want to put on ourselves when in reality, it's just that God has blocked it or that man has an issue or he's just not the one, and it's okay to amicably go our separate ways. Like, it is okay. Like, all three of those are okay. Why? Because Romans 8:28 tells us that, and we know that all things are working together for the good of him who loves the Lord, who is called according to his purpose. So if you are called according to God's purpose, then God is going to make sure, God is going to make sure that your love story works out. It's okay if you're not everyone's cup of tea. You know, everybody doesn't like how happy Dewana is. That's fine. You know, everybody may not appreciate it, but the right one does. The right one appreciates it, right? So we have to know that and understand that. All right, so I think I'm going to wrap it up there with my 5 reasons, you guys. I guess I could go on. Well, you know, we can just go on. If you want to go on, put a 1 on the screen. If you want to save it, put a 2 on the screen, and we'll save it for another time. But I just wanted to come on and spend time with you guys to really encourage you guys to know how worthy you are of love, to know how worthy you are of God's love, and also of a man's love, and to know that the right one will pursue you. The right one will pursue you. The right one, you won't have to wonder, you won't have to guess. You know, and we'll talk more at the Future Wife Retreat about the inconsistencies and how to deal with that and how to not be so triggered. Guys, I was the same. I was so triggered. I would ruin everything because I'd be so irritated. I'd be so irritated. But there's a lot of wisdom that I have learned, a lot of things that have helped me along my journey. And I just can't wait to share with you guys. So if you are not yet registered for the Future Wife Retreat, you guys, we're going to go so much more in depth. And you guys are going to have personal time to even ask me questions. Like I said, it's only going to be 10 women. And it's going to be super, super filled with how to deal with these frustrating situations. When he's not pursuing, when he's not calling, when he's not texting, when you feel frustrated, when you keep repeating the same cycles of getting upset and things just fall apart, right? So we'll be talking about all of that August 13th through 16th, 2020 in Jamaica, guys. This is gonna be so much fun. I went there once, it was amazing, and I can't wait for you guys to come and to join. We're gonna have an amazing time. So like there's 7 slots left, and we're gonna be talking about the how to deal with this, the how to say your words, the what to speak when you're really frustrated with them, the way to, you know, to just be more feminine and to attract the right person, the right man for you, okay? Heidi says, I need info on this retreat, so I can't wait, guys. I can't wait. It's gonna be amazing, okay? I am really hot, so I'm going to save the rest of this for later, but I will do a quick recap of the reasons why you need to know your worth and not and not pursue a man. The verse was Proverbs 18:22. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor of the Lord. Remember, you guys are so worthy of a good godly man. You're so worthy of it, guys. And you know what? I used to think that I wasn't worthy because I wasn't perfect or because I had other flaws. God really did a work on me, and we're going to be also talking about that on the Future Wife Retreat. He did a work on me where I was like, you don't have to be perfect to be loved. But that's a whole nother topic. You guys are so worthy of love. So number 1 reason is that it damages your self-esteem when you start to chase. Number 2 is that if you have to chase him, a lot of times he's just not that into you for whatever reason. And you know what? We've got to stop getting up into the minds of men and trying to figure it out. They could be crazy. They could be cuckoo. I can tell you guys so many stories. And they could also just be a great guy who's just not for you, right? Number 3 is that he has a character issue when you deserve better. He may be talking to multiple women. He may just be playing. He may just not be ready to settle down. Whatever his reason is, we just trust God with it, and we trust the right one will find us. Number 4, you miss out on spending time with the ones who actually love you. We talked about COVID and how, you know, this time is not to be spent obsessing over, he hasn't called me, he hasn't texted me, he doesn't like me, what's wrong with me? Maybe if I drop 20 pounds, maybe. No, no, stop it. I'm gonna tell you as your sister, just stop. Like, take a deep breath. Maybe it has nothing to do with you, right? And then number 5, you start to become overanalyze and become paranoid and begin to have mental and emotional issues. And you have too great of a destiny. You have too great of a life to really get tied up in mental and emotional issues over one man when God has a particular man who's going to love you and adore you and be a godly king for you. All right, so I love you guys. I pray that this encourage you. If you are interested in registering for the Future Wife Retreat, you can go to www.futurewiferetreats.com. It has an S on it.com, and we're gonna go so much more in depth, you guys, and it's gonna be so much fun in Jamaica. All right, www.futurewiferetreats.com. I think I saw one question. Let me see. I just want to make sure I get it. I don't know. When you do that, you're being a masculine woman and not allowing him to be the woman and queen that God calls you. Okay, so that was a comment. That's fine. All right, I love you guys. www.futurewiferetreats.com, and I pray this blessed you. Yes, this live will be saved, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.